appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the
But the
worst.
question is
One of the
legitimate,
worst
sir.
in the business. But I'll answer your question.
What you just saw was hands down the most uncomfortable moment of Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, visit to the Oval Office. And well, we're going to analyze his body language and Trump's body language and their answer to this question from ABC News in this video analysis. Let's start with the moments previous to this question, because it's important to understand the context, and it's important to understand, of course, the baseline body language of the Crown Prince. We already have an idea of Trump's body language, but I'm going to review it as well. I think that in the moments previous to this, before they enter the Oval Office, hands down, the let's say the funny part of this is showing bin Salman that auto pan picture in place for Biden. That was very fun to watch. And then, well, after that, I think this is the only moment of levity we're going to have in this analysis. Let's take a look at the first words that Trump says introducing the Crown Prince to the meeting at the Oval Office. And especially he uses the words human rights that have been very, let's say, people are talking about this a lot.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We have a extremely respected man in the Oval Office today, and a friend of mine for a long time, a very good friend of mine.
Donald Trump is going to say around 5 to 6 times that he is a very good friend of his, that Mohammed bin Salman is a very good friend of his.
And I'm very proud of the job he's done. What he's done is incredible in terms of human rights and everything else.
You notice that when he says that in terms of human rights and everything else, the Crown Prince has this kind of a smile. We're gonna study his body language baseline to see his actual reactions to that question that you just heard at the beginning of this video. But this is how he reacts to the acknowledgement from Donald Trump in terms of human rights. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But this is his reaction.
That is incredible in terms of human rights and everything else.
Okay, you see that? That is going to be a recurring gesture that he does along the whole press conference at the Oval Office. But some of you, I'm pretty sure that you are already jumping to the comments of this video saying that what kind of human rights are there in Saudi Arabia if I'm sure that you're gonna mention that they kill journalists. That's basically what everybody is saying. That what kind of human rights are we talking about here? And the thing is that, in fact, we're gonna talk about Khashoggi because that's what the question is about. But at the same time, Trump says this because it's under Mohammed bin Salman's watch that have been all these reforms to Saudi Arabia. You know that it's like kind of Saudi Arabia wants to catch up with countries like the UAE, which I have spoken about a couple times in this channel. You have so many of you, not so many of you, some of you have already said that I'm kind of a paid, not by Qatar, but by the UAE or Saudi Arabia. I can understand. I just am trying to highlight the facts about these countries. And the fact is that Saudi Arabia was extremely strict and has been opening up under Mohammed bin Salman's watch. It's not like Western open, of course, because no Middle East country is. But yeah, I think that they realize that the UAE, the Emirates, have done very well with, let's say, having this more open stance to other cultures, to soften the stance in many things. I have a list, but I think that we can have that discussion in another video because I want to focus on the body language. But that is the reason that I think that Donald Trump was referring to in terms of human rights and Saudi Arabia. You are absolutely welcome to discuss this in the comments, and I really encourage you to, as long as, of course, it's a civilized discussion.
And he's the crown prince, the future king, and I just want to pay my greatest respect to your father, King, who is an amazing man. I met him early on.
Well, we have seen that Trump has his usual body language baseline, his way of sitting. I think that he's speaking a bit slower than usual. He's measuring his words a lot. He knows that in these circumstances, we're talking about circumstances that require a lot of diplomacy. There's this huge relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia for 90 years or something. He knows that he has to tread carefully. I'm going to use this clip as an example of the way the Crown Prince, he reacts to certain topics, and some of his body language and especially facial expressions when he is listening to these topics. Regular topics, nothing controversial.
We have a lot of jobs, so I just want to thank you. We've been really good friends for a long period of time. We've always been on the same side of every issue. I think we've done a great job in wiping out the nuclear capacity of Iran. Nobody else could have done that. No other president would have done it. We had the pilots in the Oval Office right here. We were celebrating a very successful attack.
This is basically the way that he smiles. I don't remember. I checked the whole video. I don't remember him smiling with his mouth open. That this is a way of smiling, and this is a gesture that he did, like to make himself a bit more comfortable. I don't know if the topic of Iran made him uncomfortable. I don't think so. I'm gonna give him a pass on this one. I think it's too soon to tell. But this is the way I've noticed in the Middle East. Men don't have that much of exaggerated facial expression. Exaggerated in the sense that they are maybe not as expressive as we can be in the West, and certainly not as expressive as myself, for example, that I can be a bit of what is the word? It's out of the ordinary with my facial expressions, right? That's not something that you, or at least not my experience, that I've seen in men in the Middle East and people in the Middle East in general. So I think this is par for the course. That is normal for, in this case, from Saudi Arabia. But then we have another clip that is the handshake. Let's take a look at the handshake between them. And the body language, of course.
But I just want to say it's an honor to be your friend, and it's an honor that you're here. And if you'd like to say a few words, but thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. President.
Notice that he says once again that it's an honor to be his friend, that it is an honor to have him here, and the Crown Prince does the same smile that we saw a minute ago. The same smile. He's going to say some words, and I want you, this is important, this is going to be important because it's part of the baseline, not only the body language, but the way that he speaks in English. This is important for his answer about the question that we saw at the beginning.
It's been a relation for about 9 decades, and we've been working together for a long time. But today it's a very important time in our history because there is also a lot of things that we're working on in the future.
Okay, so we have like kind of a taste of how he speaks. He has certain command of the English language. He has maybe a bit of trouble expressing. He wants to pick the right words to express himself. Let's see at longer clip about that, just to be sure, to make sure the way that he talks, so we can compare when he answers the questions about 9/11 and Khashoggi.
Mr. President, today and tomorrow we're going to announce that we are going to increase that $600 billion to almost $1 trillion of investment, real and real opportunity by details in many areas. And the agreement that we are signing today in many areas in technology, in AI, in earth materials, magnet, etc.
Notice when he was talking about development money, his English is very fluent. And by the way, from the 6 billion to the 1 trillion, that's something that Trump was hammering. That's something that Trump does usually in these Oval Office meetings. When somebody pledges $500 billion, he says, why not 600 billion? And this case, Bin Salman was talking about 600 billion. Then Trump said, why not 1 trillion? You have the capacity to do so. And yeah, they're really interested because, by the way, Saudi Arabia is the same, pretty much like the UAE. They are interested in having their own processing power for, let's say, local AI. They want the AI that's going to be developed in there to be basically not the same AI that everybody else uses. It's like for that reason, they need all the capacity that they need in terms of chips and, of course, dedicated AI trained like in the country. That of course is a lot of investment, and Donald Trump is, of course, really interested to make sure that money flows into the United States.
That will create a lot of investment opportunities.
So you are doing that now. You're saying to me now that the 600 billion will be 1 trillion.
Definitely, because what we are signing, it will facilitate that, and
I like
we will
that
build
very
on it.
And yeah, Trump got away with it. They say, okay, you are acknowledging. Then he taps him in the knee, laughing. And yeah, this is one of the few instances you're gonna see him actually laughing, right? So it's like, okay, you convince me here. And I think that the intensity of both of their expressions is pretty much the same. They were in sync at that moment. I think that, yeah, Trump is really invested in this. Trump knows that there's huge business. Remember that Trump is a businessman. A thing that I'm going to say time and time again, the way that he wants to, well, unite the whole world is to do business. And let's continue.
He works hard to.
No, that's great. I appreciate that. That's great. We're doing numbers that nobody's ever done. But I want.
So this next clip is about the way that he says, once again, a third time. He said that many times, but Trump said, this is the third time that he says, it is an honor to be your friend. We are like, if I remember correctly, this was 25 or 30 minutes into the meeting.
But I want to just tell you what an honor it is to be your friend. And I very much appreciate the investment of now $1 trillion, okay? I'm glad you got that out. I didn't want to be the one to tell him, but that's great news.
We keep increasing, Mr. President.
I know.
Each time the opportunities are just increasing more and more.
Well, the opportunities, right? We're doing better. If even if you look back 6 months ago, I mean, now all of a sudden you feel even better. So.
I've noticed that in this meeting, Trump's voice was a little lower than usual. It was not that strong. It was not that commanding. It's like it is a bit unusual. And this is when the question from ABC is asked. I'm going to repeat the question again, just in case, so we have the right framing about the question before we address the answers from each one, because both of them are going to answer these questions.
Mr. President, is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the
But the
worst.
question is
One of the
legitimate,
worst
sir.
in the business. But I'll answer your question.
One thing that I'm going to make an observation about the question. Maybe the question should not have been too complex. Okay, it's like you're going to ask about the murder of a journalist. Why mix it up with families mad about 9/11? It's like the question was strong enough. The question towards Trump and his family doing business with Saudi Arabia was strong enough. if you make the question too complex, then you are the more topics you add to the question, the more those topics have to compete with each other. So I think that, yeah, she wanted to be edgy, but there are ways to do this. But that was an interesting question because that added that tension to the moment. That's why we have the opportunity to analyze first Trump, who goes first. Trump is going first, answering this question. Here he goes.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful.
This is basically, he's saying what I just said. He's been a businessman. He left, quote unquote, that business to dedicate himself to, well, being the 47th president of the United States. But his family keeps doing business, maybe not that much with Saudi Arabia, but he has no problem with acknowledging that. And of course, it is obvious. I think it's obvious to anybody that regardless if, even if Trump is not directly involved in the family's business, it is obvious that even if there's no connection, it is obvious that the Trump family benefits from Trump being president of the United States. It's something that it goes without saying, even if there is no direct connection, or only from, let's say the cloud that being POTUS means. But this...
And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned...
Notice that when he proceeds to talk about the Crown Prince.
As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job.
Notice how he emphasizes in a phenomenal job. That's why I'm pretty sure that he means about all the reforms that he's done to Saudi Arabia to make it a more open country.
Mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial.
Notice that the journalist did not mention Khashoggi by name. He just said in a generic way, a journalist. So Trump answers in a... Trump is not answering in a generic way. He's saying, you're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial, but he doesn't mention him by name. Okay, there's something that maybe you can learn from this. If somebody asks loaded question, but at the same time it's vague, and they want you to take the bait to say the word yourself, then you answer. Maybe you are forced to answer in a precise way. But in this case, if they didn't mention the name, you won't mention the name. That's more or less how this works. It's like, kind of a game.
Controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about.
You make sure to have kind of this ad hominem attack. You are asking for the death of this person. You have to remember that maybe this person was in a gray area. He was not like one of the good guys. Maybe he was not one of the bad guys, but he was in this gray area. Not many people like him. That is a way of reframing the question as well. And of course, making sure that his answer segues into what the Crown Prince is going to answer.
Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen, but he knew nothing about it. And we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
He immediately says that Mohammed bin Salman knew nothing about it, and that is the official, quote-unquote, version of the Saudi Arabia government about what happened to Khashoggi. Just in case, he was murdered in October 2018, entering the Saudi Arabia embassy in Istanbul. It was a brutal murder. And the first version of this is that the Saudi Arabia government had no knowledge of what had happened. Then they changed that it was a rogue operation that was not approved by then. But then there's the CIA, that they had high confidence. Well, you know what high confidence means in the CIA, that yes, Mohammed bin Salman at the very least must have been aware of what was going to happen if it was not directly involved, according to a report of the CIA. That this is what is in record at the time. But again, what they are going is with the official stance of the Saudi Arabia government. They had no idea, they had no involvement. This was a rogue attack on this journalist in the Saudi Arabia embassy in Istanbul, and that's it. And that's the way Trump is answering this way.
Gentleman that you're talking about, whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen.
Things happen. Okay, it's like this was out of the control. You notice that in this case, the Crown Prince is playing a lot with his
A lot of
fingers.
people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about, whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen.
He had this very controlled stance, very controlled body language up to this point. When this question is asked, his expression, he is looking directly downwards. He is very serious. He's playing with his fingers. Obviously, he did not like the question. And even so, Trump, you notice that Trump's facial expression did not change. He is the frequency of his voice, it doesn't change as well. Trump knows that this kind of questions are going to pop up, so he has to think really fast on the fly and try to answer. So yeah, it's like try to not embarrass the one who is investing $1 trillion in the United States, because, well, that is not a good look for what Trump is trying to achieve right now.
But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it.
When he sees he knew nothing about it, you see that he does, again, that gesture of being a bit uncomfortable. It's not a smile, is that he raises his head. I don't think that he the color of what he's wearing is because I'm pretty sure that he's wearing his best clothes to this. This is basically the best way that they wear for this kind of events, and I'm sure that it fits perfectly. So I don't think there was the color of his of his clothes that was bothering him. I think that he was bothered by the question, obviously, and yeah, he was thinking, how do I answer that?
Leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
It's okay, just you ask, Mr. President,
please, go.
if you allow me to answer. You know, I feel painful about, the families of 9/11 in America, but
Notice how he is stuttering a bit. He makes sure to address what the journalist, the thing that the journalist added that made the question murky. This is actually beneficial to him because he can frame his answer from that 9/11 topic, and that's what he does.
we have to focus on reality based on CIA documents.
And he mentions CIA documents for what he's about to say.
Based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden, he used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buy in that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to approve him wrong and to build our relation, continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism. About the journalist.
Now he's going to address the journalist. Let me see if he says journalists or journalists. I sometimes don't trust my auto captioner.
About the journalist, it's really...
I think that he says the journalist.
About the journalist, it's really painful to hear anyone that been losing his life for no real purpose or nothing illegal.
So here's that's when you see that his English begins to break. He knows that he has to think on the fly. He has to answer in a flowy way, but well, he's trying to make a point that it's sad that somebody loses his life for nothing illegal. It was just, again, this stance of Saudi Arabia government, a rogue operation.
And it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc. in Saudi Arabia.
Well, he says that it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. Here leans a bit away. I'm going to put a note on that.
It's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc. in Saudi Arabia, and we've improved our system to be sure that nothing happened like that, and it's painful and it's a huge mistake, and we are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
You notice that how he was nervous and was upset, and well, it's like Trump, are you satisfied with his answer? And I want to play one more clip to really put into frame the relationship between Trump and the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, so you can see how Trump jokes and once again says that, I think that he once again says that he's a great friend.
But we've worked with all presidents.
Does Trump blow them all away?
No, it's another league, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
And Trump doesn't give a fist pump.
I found it funny that the Crown Prince did to Trump exactly what Trump does to people. You know, the two taps on the back of the hand. Notice that? That is exactly what Trump does. I found it's like he's doing the opposite. Again, and he's smiling with his open mouth, something that you're not gonna see very often. But again, you see that is the relationship between them, the very close relationship, and Trump is gonna defend him no matter what.
Mr. President,
And Trump doesn't give a fist pump.
Yeah, you remember that fist bump. Maybe you don't remember that fist bump. Well, Trump is going to refresh your memory.
Grab that hand. I don't give a hell where that hand's been. I grabbed that hand. When remember Biden? He travels for 20 hours, gets out, and he gives a fist bump. No. When you get out of the plane and you got the future king and the man who's one of the most respected people in the world, you shake his hand. You don't give him a fist bump, right? We don't want to ask you about that, but I can't imagine you were thrilled. You were like a little bit surprised.
Again, I'm sure you have many opinions about this. I'm sure you have takes that you're already typing in the comments. you went right to the comments because of this, and I can understand that this can be have a controversial topic, very controversial topics, especially when it comes to relationship with the Middle East. But what Trump is trying to do, again, Trump is a businessman. He's just trying to focus on what can we do business? How can Saudi Arabia benefit, the United States benefit from this? Other countries benefit from this in any way. They talk about Israel as well. They talk about the two-state solution. They talk about how Saudi Arabia has helped people in Gaza as well, sending all the help they can. So again, I am perhaps not the best source for geopolitical analysis. I am working on that. Maybe I'm learning very slowly about these conflicts, how to address what has happened through, well, many years, centuries in some instances. But one thing is for sure, from a body language perspective, we know that, well, at least Trump, he wants to unite the world to do business with them. Sometimes, when, not gonna lie, those questions from journalists, even if they fake news, can make encounters like this really interesting in terms of nonverbal communication. And that's why we are here, to have a little fun and also learn about human nature and behavior. But let me know what do you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Body Language Guy. Remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my body language analysis and tips. Much love and bliss.